You're invited to Australia's only fitness and recreation industry technology summit in Sydney on July the 21st and 22nd. This amazing summit will have 4 keynote presentations, 3 TED Talk style presentations, 2 panels, and 2 90-minute workshops for you to walk away with real action items. Plus, there's a gala dinner with the first ever industry awards for technology and another keynote from the inspiring Amanda Stevens called High Tech, High Touch. You can register now at fitnessindustrytechsummit.com.au. Now, none of this would not be possible without our amazing sponsors. And today I am super pumped, super excited to welcome Dr. Cam McDonald to the microphone. Welcome, Cam, or Dr. Cam.
Whatever you like, JT. It feels good either way.
It's great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Great to be here. Thanks for making it available.
Now, if people don't know anything about you, you are a PhD scholar, accredited practicing dietitian, accredited exercise physiologist, international speaker, and leading educator in the field of personalized and precision health technology and how that applies to individuals in all walks of life. I want to come back to that part of your introduction. You work with fitness and health professionals all over the world, individual clients, small and multinational organizations, schools, all to help them better understand themselves and those that interact with based on the unique biological epigenetic differences. That is a mouthful. Before we get on to anything else, what is an epigenetic difference?
That is a great question to start with. Epigenetics. So what we need to know is that we are all unique. We've got our genes that our parents gave us, and they were very generous. You don't want to think about the time that they were given to you, but it was a special time for them. We got our genetic material, and then what happens to our genes, that sets up a scaffold of how our body's going to defend itself and survive. Our genes are designed to produce the chemicals and compounds and tissues that we need to survive the environment. And so as we progress through life, let's say that we sit on the couch for 3 months, our body goes, obviously this environment requires us to sit a lot. So I'm going to make us heavier. I'm going to make our muscles weaker. I'm going to start stripping away some of that bone. I'm going to adjust to this environment. That's an epigenetic change. Our environment has influenced our genes to protect us in this environment. And this environment requires lots of sitting. I'm going to get really good at sitting. But then you start running and your body goes, well, this is a bit of a change. Now I need to start building some muscle. I need to start increasing mitochondria. I need to start motivating me to run more. I need to start doing a whole lot of things so that I can now survive this environment that requires a lot of running. And so we've got our genes that make us up, but then we have our experiences from our environment that then change what our genes do, and it reflects in what's called our phenotype, our gene expression. And so that little paunch that you get on the gut when you're sitting on the couch,
that's what you're talking about.
No,
never seen one.
No, never. That's a gene expression. But that can happen with age as well. But, you know, the irritation you get when you're in a wind is a gene expression. It's like, this wind is just annoying me. Whereas hanging out with people you don't like is annoying and depressing. That's a gene expression change. I don't like this environment. I'm going to survive better by not wanting to be there again and demotivating you to hang out with those people. So it's not just a matter of our physical, but it's also our psychosocial that has a huge influence on what our genes need to do to protect us in this moment. And so even twins get exposed to different environments. Even though they've got the same genes, they can have very different phenotypes or gene expressions because of those epigenetic differences, the changes that they've been exposed to in their environment.
I don't know if you know the answer to this question, but I found that fascinating. If I put a caveman next to a 2021 man or a cave woman next to a 2021 woman, what would be the difference between the two of them based epigenetically?
So the epigenetics would be quite different. Their genes could be very, 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 very similar. So even so, we've still got nomadic genes that come through. If you've got a really strong, you know, that sort of forehead that kind of lips out at the eyebrows, that's a nomadic Neanderthal variation. So
Right.
we've got even Neanderthal genes that still play out. So genetically, our structures would be almost identical. But then we're exposed to very different environments, different nutritional environments, different climate influences, different amounts of physical activity. There's so many things that are shaping our development. So those genes would need to survive they would need to do different things to survive that old environment. This is why we can be a bit softer and get away with doing less, and we still seem to survive because we're much more protected from the environment. So we don't need to create that protection ourselves. So that would be one change. They were a lot tougher back then, but they also lived a lot shorter life as well. And that was due to infection and various things like that. So we protect ourselves from a lot of that stuff that used to kill us, all of that. So genetically, very similar. Epigenetically, very different exposure to environment.
And epigenetically, do we evolve?
So epigenetics is not about the genes themselves. It is about what happens around the genes.
Got it.
So, but what's really interesting, and this is some work from Bruce Lipton, is that if you have a gene switch that's turned on and it's favorable and it's been repeated and repeated and repeated, that can eventually become a hardwired gene after many, many generations. So in fact, yes. But what's also interesting is that, they've looked at tapeworms, they've looked at various things in experimental sort of arenas. And what they've found is that a memory, an emotional memory or emotion, can be held and passed on in the epigenetic switch. So the gene doesn't change, but the switch on changes and it holds through generations. So what I mean by that is, you put a worm in trauma, you then never put the next 11 generations of worms in trauma, and then you put the 12th generation worm in trauma, and the trigger will come back on straight away.
No way.
It's fascinating. So this is why what happens in the womb if you're smoking during pregnancy, there's a 2 to 3 times greater risk of asthma for the next 2 generations, not just for the next generation. Really? Yeah. So it's what happens to us is also passed on if it's at the right time. So it's not that this epigenetic response is evolving. Our genes would evolve and change slightly, but that's due to lots and lots of consistent and persistent exposure that would alter us over time. Yeah.
Anybody watching this is probably thinking, what the hell's this got to do with a technology summit? But you run a business that analyzes all of this to help personal trainers and gyms, and you gave examples in your introduction of schools and corporates to help design better programs. Now, you've got 3 different companies, am I right? PH360, Shay, and Shay Fit. What's the differences there?
So think about as the PH360 is the umbrella, and PH360 is a philosophy first and foremost, and that is that everybody is unique. So even people with the same genes will express differently because they're exposed to different environments throughout their life. So we are all different. We are different at every stage of our life. There might be a little bit of part of you that's bored right now or really excited. And that was different to when we started. So your gene expression is different to now. And so you are constantly changing as a human. You are completely different to everybody else. And so you need something individual in order for you to find your best health. And so our mission at PH360 is to eliminate chronic disease and pain by the year 2050 and to make a healthy body the norm as opposed to the minority at the moment. And we do this through assessing a person's individuality, their biological individuality right now in real time, and giving them inputs into what's relevant for them right now. And so PH360 is like the brain. Shay is the Smart Health Assistant Experience, SHAE.
Nice.
That is an app, and it acts as a user manual for your body. So of all of the literature out there in the world, and of all of the variations that are found within you, the infinite possibilities that could make you up, Shay analyzes that information and feeds the information to you in a way that makes it really digestible. So instead of saying you've got the RS5746 gene and it's turned on at this rate at this point, it says, no, eat spinach, but don't eat broccoli so much and maybe have less tomato. So it gets down into that very specific gene expression relevant output into what foods do you need, what exercise is best for you, when the best times for you to sleep, exercise, and eat are, even how your brain is driven from a behavioral genetic point of view and a hormonal point of view. We can understand what's going to drive you biologically, competitiveness or planning or focus. All of these things are baked into your biology. And so we can understand what's going to optimize your physical health, what's going to allow you to interact in a psychosocial way that matches your biology, hanging out with people that you like, doing work that is in your natural strength, and also how you're going to be motivated in that space as well. And all of that gets fed through the app. And then you get little notifications like, hey, Cam, time to eat lunch. This is the best time for you to eat lunch right now. And this will make you more productive in the evening. It actually speaks to you in language that is relevant to your brain.
Wow.
Whereas somebody else would get, hey, JT, it's time for lunch, because it's going to give your body lots of energy in the afternoon. So, I like my body having energy as opposed to productivity. So it really gets into that personalized communication piece so that you always have some real-time tips on what is the best thing for me right now, so that you can stay in a state of flow, biological flow, as much as possible.
And then what's Shay
Fit? So Shay Fit is then the gym vertical for this. So we like to be able to have every gym be able to profile all of their people to understand what are their needs going to be, their psychosocial needs, their community needs, their physical needs. What kind of, are we going to put strength classes on in the afternoon, or are we going to put high intensity stuff on in the morning, because we've got populations that will and will not respond to that. And then we also have Shay Wellness, which is the corporate application, leadership programs, talent and acquisition, staff wellness stuff, and then right into personalized learning and schools and educator mastery series. So really, you want to have an app in your hand so you can take care of yourself. We want you to be supported with that at work through Shay Wellness. Go to the gym and get the right program for Shay Fit, then go home and know the profile and understand your children and your partner. And then they get supported when they go off to school, so that essentially everywhere you go, you're able to be honored in who you are, how your biology works, and supported to live in your best state of health. And that plus a generation equals sort of eliminating the chronic disease, which is our biggest problem right now.
Wow, it kind of sounds like Shay's my new best friend if it's my app on my phone. How long does it take to profile somebody? So if we put this into my gym and I get a new member, how long would it take to profile that new member?
So right now, we're at the at the time of this recording, we take 18 different measures of the body, and then we do a very extensive questionnaire. There's a lot of science in behind that, because when we started this journey, it was about $30,000 to do your genetics. So we needed to come up with a different way of measuring gene expression that's usable. And so in 30 minutes, you can have everyone profile, but in another couple of months, we'll have a 10-minute assessment where you'll understand your gene expression down to the specificity of nutrients that you need in 10 minutes, which is something you can do at home by yourself using your smartphone. No delay in results. You get the results immediately so that you know exactly what your genes are expressing now and can start taking some action. That's
better than the average COVID test. That's insane.
It is.
Seriously, 10 minutes.
It's insane. And what machine learning can do now, like, this is what's so powerful. We can take a photo of somebody. We can get all of their facial structures and their bone structures and then where they're holding muscle and fat, and all of those relate to different genes and different hormones. We then ask a few questions about, genetic lineage and a few other really key things. All of that information, because we've been collecting this data for 20 years, we're able to now take that, do about 10,000 computations, and that creates your individualized profile. So it's incredible what machines can do. And it's why we've got to co-opt it a whole lot more.
So Cam, what I'm hearing is with this product, you can truly personalize a program for somebody in a club that potentially they're already sabotaging their results because they're not actually doing all of the personalized stuff that their genes and their bodies should be doing.
Exactly. You'll eliminate trial and error. And what we know in every exercise trial that's ever been done, and probably the most powerful version of this came out in 2019. It was a systematic review of HIIT training and its effectiveness. If anyone saw it, if you do high volume HIIT training, 31% of people will get a response and 68% will get likely non-response or uncertain result. And you think about HIIT training, RPM in the morning, and then you look at another study, HIIT training for some people will actually worsen their blood sugar levels that day than if they did nothing. And so you're sitting with clients in the gym, and I know you are because I've worked with many of the people that are in gyms. They have done their 12-week challenge. They have eaten everything to a T. They have done all of their morning training, and they have gained 0.5 kilo. And you're just sitting there saying, you've cheated. You haven't done this properly. There is no way you have done this properly because you haven't got a result and you followed everything. It just turns out that their body, due to the way that their circadian rhythms work, they are more attuned to slow strength training in the afternoon. They are designed to have 3 meals per day, and they can skip breakfast. They need a really light dinner. They need low to moderate protein, which is against everything that we would normally recommend. But normally it would take you a trip to India and China and living locally to actually figure that stuff out, because no one talks low protein in this country. Yeah. But for some people, we genuinely don't need as much protein for their body, and too much is actually a bad thing. We genuinely don't need HIIT training for some people. So it's about, people come in and ask the question all of the time, what exactly is going to be right for my body? And this provides that answer. It's to say, well, your body is unique, and this is exactly what it needs. This type of training at this time. If you're going to be training at this time, this is what you need to be doing. This is why we're going to put strength training classes on in the afternoon for the night owls. We're going to do, yin yoga and slow cardio for you in the morning if you come along to a class, because you doing a HIIT class is actually, you're wasting your gym membership. You're actually putting more stress on your system. So you get very precise, and you can then learn about their language that's going to attract them to the gym as well. So you can be really talking their language about community or competition or stats and data and the different motivations that we all have. So it's a game changer for gyms.
I hear this as, not only a game changer, but a way to increase the yield that we get from every member. Like for me, getting Shay is like a premium personal training product. So if PT might be $50, for 65, you might end up getting this, because this is really like, the fact that you can just give that nutritional advice, or Shay can give that nutritional advice, again, takes the heat off the personal trainer who's not nutritionally qualified.
Yeah, well, and exactly. And there is no way a dietitian can actually calculate a person's requirements to the level that a machine can. There's just no amount, like there's just an impossibility for that person to be able to calculate the amount of data that is required to understand whether kale should be 3 points more than spinach on a scale of all things nutrients. So even it takes a lot of that weight off. We also have a huge network of health professionals that can support you with that scope if required. And I would say that from an affordability point of view, it is much, much more affordable at scale than that number that you just gave. So wow. It's a very, very small addition, particularly for gyms, which it can be licensed out. That's how we work with gyms. And it becomes almost something that you can just incorporate into your membership, depending on the size of your membership, or tiered pricing, depending on the size of your gym.
That is just so exciting. Now, I've got to tell you, I know at least 2 people that I can think of right now that have been through the PH360 profiling over the last couple of years. And both those individuals absolutely raved about it. So I would endorse, from what you said, anybody that's watching, it's not intrusive at all. It's not embarrassing when you're going through that profiling. After talking to these guys, they just said it has helped them with their nutrition, like out of sight, but also just like you said, boosted their energies because they're doing the right things when they're supposed to.
Oh, and I was talking to we're working with a CFO group right now, and this is the feedback that we get all the time. He's a night owl. We call him a diplomat. And generally, if they stress in the morning, it ruins their energy levels for the rest of the day. They're meant to have an easy morning and push hard in the afternoon. Yeah. He said, he was really skeptical. Yeah, it's interesting. I just shifted my training to the afternoon, and I now no longer have this flat period from 10 to 2 where I'm trying to keep my eyes open because I've got energy. I've got all this energy back. And you quantify that at an organizational level of like the top guy is actually non-productive for 4 hours, grinding through it. The stress that you put on your body, the same thing goes for, what impact you can have. This is what happened when I was working as a dietitian and ex-phys, and I was putting programs together. I went from, I'm just trying to solve this one problem of weight or blood sugar levels, to if I implement these things at the right time, their circadian rhythms normalize, which controls all of their hormonal balance, which controls their healing and their recovery and their disease reversal, all of those types of things. Yes, their blood sugar levels improve, but they get this energy that just permeates through them. And all of these other things that they had, this niggle injury, this flaky skin, all of the things that are the body in disrepair, they start healing at the same time as well. And it's not just about tackling one problem at a time. It's actually just fix the human and provide the right environment for the human, and most other problems resolve. That's what's been so powerful about this. Is it's not about the disease. It's not about the weight loss. It's not about the fitness. It's about the person. Get that person right, and those other things will follow.
And therefore, for a gym, they've now got retention.
Exactly. Yeah, I turn up at the right time. I do the right kind of work. I get the best results of my life. Why would I ever want to leave? Yeah.
Now, some people watching this may never have heard you speak, and so they're probably sitting here today going, wow, this guy knows his shit. He's a smart cookie. And I think this is perhaps the most exciting thing about the Tech Summit is there's a whole bunch of the industry owners and managers of clubs are going to be there that probably don't know about Dr. Cam McDonald and what you've done. So it's going to be a great opportunity for them to meet you and talk to you one-on-one, and even be able to see what Shay does at the trade show, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And come July, I'm optimistic, and I'd love it to be the case that there's a very good chance photo onboarding will be in full flight at that point. And so we will definitely be able to help you get your profile done and get a bit of a sample and really understand what the power of it is. So either way, we can whip out a tape measure and actually do exactly the same thing in a few more minutes. But it's this tech, when you understand what's actually behind it, we've been working on it for the last 20 years. It is night and day compared to the next thing that's looking at just genes or just preferences, or this is truly about what's appropriate for this person right now. And I'm so excited to be able to share it at the platform that is the summit.
Yeah, look, mate, it is so exciting because, like I say, lots of owners and managers, their staff probably know who Dr. Cam McDonald is and have sat in on many of your sessions, but the people at the pointy end of the business may not have actually know anything about this. So it's going to be eye-opening. Now, we've also twisted your arm to do a presentation as well.
Yes.
Can you give us an insight on what you might share in that?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about essentially how this tech sort of fits into the future of where we're going, and sort of what is going to be happening, but also what is available right now. What do we have? What's our capacity for the kind of influence that we can have on people right now? So I'll be giving a little bit of a background into what it means by personalized health, but really from a gym experience point of view, it's going to be about communication, sort of the way that you speak to people. It's going to be about the types of services that you offer and how that's going to speak to different people as well, the experience that you provide them and how that all is associated with their biology. If you provide a product that matches someone's biology, they never want to leave because they feel safe. And so it's just about then understanding what is the biology that you have in your club, and the impact that can have. And then the very exciting stuff that's going to be happening once AI really comes online in the next year or two. We're going to do 7 years of research in 3 minutes with an AI looking at the data sample, and the insights that we're going to be able to gain are going to be incredibly powerful, and the interaction you'll have as a user will be mind-blowing.
I saw the other day a photo of side-by-side photo, and I think it was NASA when in 1969, and the computer that was required to put the man on the moon, and that was on one side, and then on the other side's a thumb drive, and it's like, this is the same amount of power that was then. So, I mean, what you were just talking about could not be imagined perhaps by some people now. But when you get up and speak, there's the analogy. It is possible. The world does change. We do evolve, and we can have some really cool stuff to help our members.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like the time is, and for all health professionals, what we're educating all the time on is no longer are we it's not the information age anymore. It is the experience age. And this just allows you to have the information on tap to provide so that you can focus on the experience. That's what people are turning up for. That's what's going to keep us connected. That's what we miss when we go into lockdown. You know, it's being able to focus on an experience rather than whether you've got the technicals right. You know, that it just gives you so much more time back to really make something of the business that you've got.
I knew I wouldn't get this interview done in 10 minutes, and because I just find it so intriguing. And, you know, I think you've got that missing piece of the puzzle to retention, which we're all striving for, which is getting results.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it is all about results. There's no point doing it unless we're getting one for them. That's for sure.
Mate, I cannot wait for your presentation on July 21st. And then July 22nd, we've got the little trade show where people will be able to come and meet Shay and talk to Shay and just see Shay in action. So excited. Thank you so much for being part of the summit, both as a sponsor and a speaker. We are truly grateful that you're going to come down from what some people term God's country, others term it as Anastasia land. Queensland. Coming down to the big smoke of Sydney to present and be part of our tech summit. So thank you so much.
No, it's great. I've got my leave pass for that couple of days. It's rare these days, so I'm very excited to get down there. It's going to be great.
Looking forward to it. So, ladies and gentlemen, register now at fitnessindustrytechsummit.com.au. And just a reminder that this is the only event this year that focuses on improving your business efficiencies, logistics, communication, community, and now physical results of your members through technology. Thanks to Shay Fit, PH360. No matter the size or the type of your business, you're going to benefit from the Tech Summit. So we'll look forward to seeing you on the 21st, 22nd of July, fitnessindustrytechsummit.com.au. Thanks, Cam, for your time today.